I think this is so huge because, okay, so I don't know how much you follow American basketball, right? Or even American football.
No.
Okay, so this is really important, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, and I want to just kind of expand on this a little bit. A lot of business and a lot of really any profession is just being able to stand the test of time, right? For instance, a basketball player, I think 1982, there's a guy named Magic Johnson, okay? And he played basketball for the Los Angeles Lakers, and I think he was the first $1 million contract. Today, Paul, everybody on the team gets $1 million, okay? Some players make $1 million in a game. And so I really believe that a lot of people have not set up their business to be able to stand the test of time for them, to be able to actually have longevity, because they're not asking this question that you're telling them to ask. And because of that, they're burning out, and they're not able to actually reap the rewards of even the current times that we're in right now.
This is Secrets for Success.
Welcome to the Secrets for Success podcast. I'm your host, Greg Todd. Thank you, as always, for joining me. My friends, we have an amazing interview today. I know because I've already done it. Trust me, I'll tell you at the end of it, okay? All right? But it's going to be an absolutely amazing interview. I have been talking to my wife all week about this interview. So even when I found out, actually, you know what? I'm just going to tell you now. We did this interview a week ago, and everything went off at my office, and it's because some stuff wasn't plugged in. So this man is so gracious to do this again, but he coached me for about an hour, and today he's going to coach you, and you're going to hear some of the amazing things that he said. So I'm bringing on Paul Wright, and Paul Wright is going to talk about the 7 critical mistakes which reduce profits, increase stress, and chain you to your health business. So if you're a physical therapist, occupational therapist, chiropractor, speech therapist, dietitian, I know a lot of you are listening to this podcast. I promise you, this is going to be one that you're going to be in for a treat. So please do me a favor. Go ahead and just put everything away and listen up to what this man has to say. So we are going to talk about a lot. We're going to go through Paul's entire journey. We're going to talk about his consulting company called Practiceology. And he's the author of an Amazon bestseller. I believe it's called How to Run a 1-Minute Practice. And so he's going to share a bunch of stories with us. And the first story I would love for you to share is the bus story of how you passing by a bus or a bus passing you, and it led to you owning 6 practices. So can you talk about that first?
Mate, sure, mate. Thanks for having me back. But I thought I might have upset you the first time. I've never either offended you. I tend to. One of my mentors said, Paul, if you haven't upset someone by lunchtime every day, you're not saying anything important enough. So, but the fact that I'm back here is an absolute treat. So, mate, nice to have. Great to be back with your audience.
You did amazing.
Bus story,
yes,
though,
go ahead. You did amazing.
The bus story, it came about because I'd opened practices in Sydney. So I'd opened my first practice, physio practice in Sydney. And I'm there at the start of the day. So I'm there first thing in the morning. I'm watching the sun come up over the horizon. And I'm watching the sun go down. I'm just seeing this day after day. And I'm thinking, what's this all about? And that's not what I signed up for. I'm missing family time, all that sort of business. And this bus keeps going past, Greg. And on the side of the bus, from my treatment room, I could see this bus go past. And on the side of the bus, it says why most small businesses fail and what to do about it. Mm. That's plastered on the side of the bus. And it just kept going past. And I'm thinking, I'm better now that the universe was telling me something, and it was planted out the front of my office so that I would see it. Anyway, it led me to a Michael Gerber seminar, the E-Myth founder, and I then read the E-Myth book, and that kind of got me started in the whole structuring the business, and that was the journey that started. But it started from a bus going by that just, I think it was there for a reason. I look back now that they were parking the bus there for me specifically. And that got me on the journey to opening the practices that I had until I sold them. So that was the bus story.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely amazing. It's so funny how like these things happen in our life and they lead us in these directions. And it's like almost one piece that's put down. It's the bus for you, and then one piece, and then one piece, and then reading the E-Myth, and then this and that, and it kind of just leads to so many other things. Well, what I enjoyed when we talked the other day is we talked about the two factors that determine the success of any health business. I know we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about you and this whole accountant thing, which I thought was amazing. The single sheet that all health businesses need to have, and it's something that your accountant can't give you. And yeah, we're just going to get into all that. Okay, so I kind of jumped the gun. Let me just tell you a little bit more about Paul. He is a physiotherapist by trade. He is the former owner of multiple allied health clinics in Australia. I told you about the whole Amazon bestseller thing. He's helped like thousands of health business professionals. And this guy is the real deal, okay? And he's done this not just in Australia, but he's helped people across, I think, 57 countries or some crazy amount like that. So here's what he does. And he does what I love, which is earn more, work less, and enjoy their lives. He is the father of 4 daughters, from what I remember. And he's been married to his wife for, I think, 32 years or something like that. But it was pretty impressive. So anyways, I would love to just hear, even beyond the bus story, kind of the story of your career to date, like how everything that you're doing now came about. So go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, I grew up in a small country town, so a place called Canamble, which if you know Australia at all, it's northwest New South Wales. It's you guys talk about the outback, so I'm in the outback. There's no physios, chiros, osteos. There's the odd dentist. The doctor comes occasionally. So there's no health professions. And when you're looking for role models, which I was at that time, who do you look for? You look for your teachers, and there was a phys ed teacher that I liked. So I thought, well, okay, well, I like sport. I'll be a PE teacher. So I finished school. I go to Newcastle University, which is east coast of Australia, just north of Sydney. And I did a physical education teaching course. I got 3 years in. I liked anatomy, liked physiology. And I ran into a physio. I didn't even know what a physio was, Greg, at that time. But I met a physio at a toga party, which was very common at Newcastle College in those days. Go to the toga party. I said, what do you do? She said, I'm a physio. What's that? Told me all about it. And I thought, well, injuries, anatomy, physiology, that's great. So I decided, well, I think I'd be a good PE teacher, but I didn't. Maybe it was an entrepreneurial streak early. Maybe I realised I couldn't work for myself as a teacher. So I thought, okay, I'll be a physio. So I applied to Sydney Uni, mature age student. And here's another turning point. I'm sitting on Newcastle Beach with the acceptance letter to Sydney Uni. Do I go or not? That's kind of the decision. Do I stay in Newcastle teaching quality of life, beaches, lifestyle? Or do I decide to go to Sydney and pursue physiotherapy? I end up going to Sydney. 4 of the toughest years of my life, Greg, spent at Cumberland College in those days before it became Sydney Uni. Mate, the library was full on the first day. There was no toga parties. It was serious. Day one was serious. And it just went for 4 years. But I got the job done, graduated, did a year in the public hospital. Very soon opened my first practice. It was going okay. The bus went by, E-Myth, started building the practices, ended up with 6 of them, and then they kind of expanded. I then started teaching how I did it. People said, how do you run the business? Because I was pulling out further and further from treating patients. And they said, how do you do it? How do you run practices if you're not there? Well, and I started showing them, and then I sold the practices and led me to where I am today, teaching owners exactly how I did it.
Wow.
And that's kind of been the journey, which has been great. I've loved it. And it's my passion. So my crusade now, I think my crusade that I feel like I'm on, is giving practice owners back to their families. Because they just go missing. Once you get the business, you go missing. It's just not on.
Wow.
You know, that's where it all came from.
Well, I love what you stand for. I love your story. And I love what you've been able to do for so many people. And it's not just what to do, but a lot of it is what not to do. And you kind of have these 7 critical mistakes, which reduce profits, it increases stress, it makes people go crazy, and it changes you to your healthcare business. And I want us to talk about those 7 mistakes. I know your first mistake is failing to understand the true role of your business. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Okay. Well, I don't think I realised it at the time, but as you get older, you realise, like I've been married to my beautiful wife Helen for 30 plus years. We've got 4 daughters. I think I went into business. I think I fundamentally went into business so that it would give me more life. I don't think I wanted to be chained to an office from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. or that. So I wanted more life. And for that to me was business ownership. So that's kind of why I started. I stumbled across the E-Myth at the right time. I systemized the businesses so it helped. But I think what a lot of us, we don't understand the true role. The business's job is to serve me. And that's what it's all. And my business now serves me. After this interview, Greg, my wife texted me a little while ago, said, how about we go to the beach? Great. So I wanted a business that let me do that when I wanted to do it. And most health businesses don't do that. And that's the thing we talk about in our practiceology world called the freedom score. What I get all of our owners to do in our program is how many hours per week do you physically spend with patients? What's your consulting hours? Because when you look at your diary every week, that's where you have to be in the practice. You've got to be there. It's 20, 30, 40 hours a week. What's your freedom score? Well, I look at my diary today. You're the only thing in my diary today. So I'm on a white space crusade in my diary.
I'm honored.
And I want freedom to do what I want.
Yeah.
Well, and it's and I love it. And it's but I've then got the chance to do things that I want to do. So look at your business. Is your business serving you or are you serving it? What's your freedom score? Now you might say, well, but Paul, I love treating patients. And that's fantastic. And that's okay, but that's a decision, and you can run a business like that. I think I told you the last session we did. There's a guy I know who runs what I call a Mr. or Miss X model. Mm-hmm. And the model is an osteopath. He runs the business on his terms. He opens the door, he does what he wants to do. But if the surf's up, get this, there'll be a sign on his door that says, the surf's up, I'm not here today. Patients will turn up, but he's not there. And the patients understand, he's just surfing. He doesn't take a credit card, he's cash only, no insurance business, charges high fees. The model is serving him or her. And you can decide that any day of the week. So understand what model you've got, what model you want, and let the business serve you. Yeah. Otherwise you get stuck in it, which is not what any of us want.
Paul, you see a lot of people not doing that, and they go into business not aligning what they're doing professionally with what they want personally, right? Don't you see that a lot? And is that part of the reason why people don't do it? Yeah.
Well, that's burnout, mate. That's why you see them. You see these practice owners 5 years, 10 years down the track, and they think, I didn't sign up for this. But they didn't. They didn't sign up for everything that went along with it, and the business is draining them. But like I could have made more money, Greg. I could have seen patients from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. I could have made a lot more money. Even now, I could go to conferences. I could present. I could do all these things. But I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'll come to yours, by the way, because that'll be fun. Yeah. But if it's not fun and Helen doesn't come and the kids didn't come, because I travel the world with the kids. Every year we do some conference, but it was only a holiday.
Right.
With a tax deduction on it.
Right.
But I wouldn't go otherwise. I'm not going without them.
Right.
It just wasn't in my model.
I think this is so huge because, okay, so I don't know how much you follow American basketball, right? Or even American football.
Enough.
Okay, so this is really important, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, and I want to just kind of expand on this a little bit. A lot of business and a lot of really any profession is just being able to stand a test of time, right? For instance, a basketball player, I think 1982, there's a guy named Magic Johnson, okay, and he played basketball for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think he was the first $1 million contract. Today, Paul, everybody on the team gets $1 million, okay? Some players make $1 million in a game. And so I really believe that a lot of people have not set up their business to be able to stand a test of time for them, to be able to actually have longevity, because they're not asking this question that you're telling them to ask. And because of that, they're burning out. And they're not able to actually reap the rewards of even the current times that we're in right now, And so it's really unfortunate.
There's another thing to think about then, Greg, as well. We talk about with our clients the concept of current bank versus future bank. Now, a current bank business is a Mr. X model or Mrs. X model. That's a current bank because what you make is what you make when you're there, and you're not going to sell that for much because it's you. You're the business. So that's and that's okay, as long as you understand that you're not going to sell that for $1 million down the track. Now, a future bank business is one where you get team and you build it and you have something to sell. But there's risks and challenges to that as well. Get this one. Here's how challenging things can get. I had a $300,000 practice in the suburb in Sydney, going gangbusters, going really nicely. I got a phone call from a client. This was Thursday night. Paul, just want to let you know, the owner of the gym, because I was a subtenant of a fitness centre, the owner of the gym hasn't paid their rent for 3 months. Just thought you should know. Ooh, that's not good news. I ring the gym owner, mate, what's going on? He said, no problems, it'll be sorted out. I'll see you tomorrow. I turn up on Friday morning and I see the owner, who's a friend of mine, and I've got, in those days I had the rent check in my hand for the month. I said, mate, here's the rent check for the month. He looked at me and he said, just hold on to that, mate. I said, okay. That's the sign for me. I'm on the phone, cancel all the patients for the day. I hire a truck, get the truck to move in. We move everything out. We move everything from the practice into the truck. Wow. This is Friday morning. It's just in the truck. Everyone's saying, Paul, what are you doing? I said, there's problems here. I'm moving this stuff out. He said, we'll be open. There's a new buyer coming in. It'll be taken over. We'll be back open Monday. I said, when we open Monday, I'll bring the truck back and put everything back in there. But until then, I'm taking everything.
Right.
Can I tell you, with it, mate, once I drove off in that truck on the Friday, I never again set foot inside that building. It closed that day.
Wow.
Business gone in 24 hours. Mm. Now, talk about business lessons. What's the business lesson? Well, I had too much invested in one. I had too much invested in one place, so I never again had just one location for a start. Mm. But I was reliant on someone else. I also never wanted to be a subtenant of someone else in case they didn't pay their rent. So there's, but that's a model. That was a model that I understood, and it was just a hard lesson to learn. But
wow.
Anyway, that's business challenges for all of us. But,
wow. That's I've had a similar story, but that one takes the cake. Okay, all right. Let's talk about number 2 now. That is falling in love with your product. I think so many of us are guilty of this. So this is a big mistake. Go ahead and expand on that.
Okay. Here's the mistake. And I made the mistake. The mistake is I fell in love with the idea of being a physio. I wanted to be a physio. The key words, I wanted to be a physio. Greg, I didn't do any research about, is there a market for physiotherapy? Is there a labour shortage? Will I always get a job? Can I open I didn't do any of that. I wanted to be a physio. So, and that's the mistake. I fell in love with the idea of being a physio, which is a mistake. What I should have fallen in love with is the problem or the market. What's the problem that the community has? And making sure I could solve that. And I've learned that over the years. I've learned the market doesn't care what I want. My job is to solve a problem in the market. And when I started our education for health business owners, there wasn't much around in those days. So I did a couple of seminars and they filled the room. Oh, market's telling me there's a need for this. So then I then go further and further with it. But if no one came to the seminars, Greg, I wouldn't have done it. What's the lesson for you guys? You fall in love with treating elbow pain in one-arm golfers, but there's not enough of them around there to make it viable. Mm-hmm. So because you love to do it doesn't mean the market wants it. 2 key drivers of any business: available market and available labour. Oh. Find a market. Ask your clients, what do you need? What do you wish there was? I wish there was a hand therapist. I wish there was a program to get me running again. What's the program? What does the market need? Your job is to fill it. That's the biggest mistake we make. We fall in love with being a physio, chiro, podiatrist, osteopath, but the market doesn't care what we want. I did a seminar once. A guy said to me, Paul, I want to open 6 practices in the northern suburbs of Sydney. Oh, keywords, I want to. Is there enough market for that? Oh, I don't know. I'd imagine so. How are you going to staff it? There's a labour crisis. How are you going to fill it? I'll just advertise. Guy's got no idea. So he's going to chain himself to his business forever. The market doesn't care what you want. Your job is to find out what the market needs and provide the solution for it. That's how you run a great business.
Paul, do you think a lot of people struggle with that because of ego? They don't want to ask people? Or is it just that they're ignorant and they just don't understand?
Well, they just love what they do. They're passionate health professionals. I love treating migraine pain. It's my passion. My passion is to do this. And that's great to have a passion, but what I'm saying is align it with a market need. Right. Like I love helping health professionals, and that fortunately aligned with a market need and lined up with my skill set, and it worked. But if I'd have run these seminars, Greg, and no one came, and I'm flogging these programs and no one joined, we're also slow to learn the lesson that the market doesn't want it. My favourite example, I watch Shark Tank all the time. I love Shark Tank. Mm-hmm. The guy that goes into Shark Tank and he's selling the arm, he's got a pad that goes under your arms to stop your shirt from getting sweaty. That's the product. Pitches it to the sharks, and they're sort of not really interested, but they said, how are your sales? And sharks will always ask, how are your sales? Because they want to know what the market wants. How are your sales? Well, how long have you been doing it for? Oh, about 6 years now. How many have you sold? I've sold about 2,000. 6 years, 2,000, not a chance in hell. So the market's, but they interviewed this guy afterwards. He didn't get a deal. They interviewed him afterwards. What are you going to do now? Oh, I believe in this. I'm going to keep going. The market's telling him they don't want it.
Right.
But
right.
It's his passion. So that's the mistake. You get too close to it. You just got to try and align the market need with your skill set or something you can solve. That's how you create a successful business.
I love
this. Market doesn't care. The market doesn't care what you want, Greg.
The market doesn't care what you want. You guys, are you listening to this? The market does not care what you want. You have to give the market what it wants. Okay, let's talk about number 3. This is a big one. We're gonna get some people that are gonna tighten up with this, and that's falling victim to this perfectionist syndrome. Go ahead and talk about that.
I think it's drummed into us. I think it's because of our university qualification. I think we go to university, we spend 4 years, whatever we spend, we're drilled on being technically good, and that creates all sorts of issues for us. It creates issues that we think that if we're technically excellent, we'll be the busiest therapist and have the best business. We know that's not the case. So, and I think what we get caught up is we do more knee courses, we do more shoulder courses, we do whatever we can do to be more technically great. But then we get disappointed when, well, I've got all these things and this guy up the road opens up with really smart marketing, he's killing me. So you've got to get your head around this. And it's mentors have told me things over the years. It's better to be 80% and out the door, not 100% and in the drawer. Basically, they're saying, get it done, put it out there and see what the market says.
Right.
I can't tell you how many owners I've talked to. I'm doing this, I've got this knee program and I've been tweaking it and it's just not quite right. It should be finished by the end of the year. How long have you been doing it for? Oh, it's been about 3 years. No. Minimal viable product. Get something out there, put it out in the marketplace and see if the market wants it. Then make it better. That's who was it? Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn. If you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you have launched too late.
Wow.
If you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late. I look at some of the things I did earlier, Greg. You're probably the same. We put some stuff out there early, and I look at it now and go, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Oh yeah.
But it leads you on the journey. And I think, minimal viable product. Let's say you want to do you're thinking about a migraine program. Do it, put on an event at the local community college, see who turns up, see if it's got any traction, put some social media posts, see if anyone subscribes, test the market. Mate, you've probably done this as well. I've marketed and promoted courses that I haven't created yet.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Yeah. If I've got this course coming up, here's what I'm going to cover.
Right.
And my beautiful wife Helen, she gets really worried about this. You got that course in this week, yeah? How's the lecture going? Oh, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
It makes you do things. But the other thing for you guys, an expression a mentor told me, to the blind man, the one-eyed man is king. Which essentially means you don't have to be the best therapist. You don't have to be the knee expert. You just have to be okay in the eyes of your audience. So if your audience is blind, if that's the expression we're using, and they don't know anything about knee problems, you've got one eye. You're at least okay. You know more than them. You can help them with their knee. You don't have to be the superstar of knees. Just get something out there. And you don't have to be the best in the world, just the best in their world.
In their world.
Very
Oh my gosh.
thing.
Oh, that's huge. You don't have to be the best in the world. You just have to be the best in their world. Okay, I want to hit something with regards to what you just said. That
Sure.
you know
Of course you
about the courses and not having them ready. I purposely do that because I want to teach people this point. It doesn't have to be perfect. So for those of you that are like, whoa, wait, guys, are you serious here? Yes, I'm 100% serious, and I purposely do that every single time. And here's the reason why. Number one is that whenever well, first of all, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you don't know the information good enough. Okay? So if whatever you're teaching on, you need to know it good enough to where you can do it on the fly because you understand the premise of what needs to be taught and what needs to be delivered. Okay, that's number one. Number two is we have a responsibility to get you guys to stop doing this perfectionist syndrome. So it's one thing for us to say it. It's another thing for us to do it. And number three is my best programs. And Paul, I'm sure you can say the same as well. Some of the best results that I've gotten with people are from programs that I actually build as the people are going through it. So I can get feedback in real time and adjust it accordingly. I can't even tell you that goal that he just gave you. That is exactly how you do it. And you guys are waiting a month, 5 months, 10 months, 2 years, 3 years to get your perfect thing. And it's not going to work. Okay? Let the market tell you and stop being a perfectionist. All right. Okay. Wow.
You love this, Greg. Can I share this with
Please.
you? I did a lecture for you guys. I did a lecture was at the APTA conference in Florida a couple of years ago. And I'm on the stage. The crazy Australian arrives at the APTA conference, and I got two people up out of the audience. These poor buggers. And I said to the audience, question for you guys: is technical excellence a marketing advantage? Is technical excellence in healthcare a marketing advantage? Mm-hmm. And of course, technical crowd wants to say, yeah. They all said, yeah, it is. Okay, so let's get these two poor people. I got these two poor physical therapists up. One on the right, and I said, this person is an absolute idiot. They are the worst therapist I've ever seen. They are just hopeless. I don't know how they got registered. They're disgraceful. This one on the left, superstar, absolute superstar. Is it a marketing advantage? Is this guy got a marketing advantage over this guy? Now, they all wanted to say yes, but they were nervous where I was going with it. I said, it's not. I can market the idiot into a superstar. He might be a good or she might be a good speaker. I can manufacture them into a superstar. Mm-hmm. So it's not a marketing advantage. What it is, it's a retention advantage, most definitely in terms of retaining, but it's not a marketing advantage. Not saying don't do courses, not saying be technically great, but for goodness sake, work as much, if not more, on your marketing and your business and everything else than you do on being a technically excellent therapist. That's the lesson for all of you guys.
Oh my goodness, this is so good. This is so good.
Sorry to upset everyone.
No,
I don't mean to upset everyone.
No, it's okay. We're upsetting them, but this is actually like, guys, if you can take of just the three that we've talked about so far, if you can just say, I'm gonna focus on getting this right, it will transform your business.
That was easy.